Hello, my name's Tom Toronto, and this is my Saitama Journey. I'm going to be interviewing different people who invested in and were involved in Saitama Inu between May and November of 2021. And they're going to share their stories for good and for bad as to what happened when they got involved in Saitama Inu, different things that they remember explicitly from this period, which is about 3 years ago, and what they learned from it. So sit back and enjoy the Saitama Journey. And then if you are interested in getting interviewed by me, I would love to hear your story as well. All of these stories are meaningful. I think we learn a lot from them. But more than anything else, because I was there and a lot of my friends and a lot of the people in our current community were there, it is interesting because it's part of our life. We actually experienced a Saitama journey, and in some cases it was seriously devastating. In some cases it was extremely exciting, and I'd love to hear your story. So sit back and watch this episode. I'll talk to you soon. Hello, this is Tom Toronto, and this is my Saitama Journey. I have with me today my guest, Chad, and he's going to share some of the interesting things that happened to him 3 years ago in 2021. Welcome, Chad.
Hey, thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
All right, let's hear your story. So, what got you into trading crypto?
You. Because me and your brother were sitting on the back porch, having a drink, talking about crypto. People were talking about it in the grocery stores almost, and we were just like, we got to figure this thing out. So we made a phone call to you.
What was the month roughly?
I think it was April, maybe May of 2021 that we actually started a crypto.com account. Then we bought Shiba Inu was the first thing, and I think I put $5,000 into Shiba Inu.
$5,000.
Yep.
Okay. In crypto.com. Okay. Yep. So yeah, I was into Shiba Inu, and I had gotten in. I had also bought a little bit of Doge back on my Robinhood app back then. So okay, so what happened after what did you do? You moved from Shiba Inu to something else?
Yeah, well, we were in it for a month, and it just kind of flatlined and wasn't doing anything. And I thought crypto was kind of a crapshoot, so I didn't know anything about it. And then we called you a month later, and you were like, "Oh, I don't have that. I sold Shiba, and I went into Saitama." And I'm like, "Well, what the hell? Help me get there." So you helped me with setting up the MetaMask account, setting up everything for getting a DeFi wallet, and getting Saitama.
So you basically were leaving a centralized exchange that's pretty straightforward to actually trading your tokens on the blockchain and using Uniswap and Trust Wallet or MetaMask, I think maybe was the
MetaMask
wallet.
and
Okay, so how much did you have into it? Did you just move over that $5,000?
I moved over that. I left some in crypto.com, and then I added another $10,000 into Saitama, and the end result was I had about $20,000 invested in Saitama by about June of 2021.
Okay. So what happened with it?
It just went crazy. Everybody I knew was talking about Saitama. Everything was going nuts. We were following each other's wallets. I was going to YouTube University, learning from Rodney and Jake Gagan and Bleaves and all these guys that were shilling Saitama. And Enoch, can't forget him.
Enoch howling at the camera. Yeah, that's awesome. So, I guess if that was early on, then so where did your wallet peak out at?
So, the day of the event of the Vegas event where the app was supposed to be done, I didn't believe in Russ anymore. I'd lost faith in him. I was slowly losing faith in a lot of other people. And Jake Gagan, I was still following at that time, and my crypto journey, Rodney, I was following him too. And Jake, about 2 days before, I believe it was Jake, said that the app's not going to be ready at the Vegas event, but they're going to do the Vegas event anyways.
Okay.
So I started getting cold feet. I came over to your house. I didn't quite know how to withdraw the Saitama from the DeFi account, so I literally wrote down word for word every step of what I needed to do and how to get
slippage, everything.
Get that money out of Saitama. So I think it was about 12 o'clock Eastern time that I was in my garage working on a truck, listening to everything on the Bluetooth at the Vegas event. And Jake Gagan got so drunk.
So it was streaming a YouTube live, being streamed from his cell phone. Yeah.
And he was so drunk, he was asking people for beer money, and he was trying to be funny, but he was really not. And I started watching my wallet, and I was up to $240,000. And during Jake's live stream debacle, my wallet started dropping by tens of thousands quick. So I ran into the house, got my computer, got my little trusty piece of paper out, and I was able to withdraw $180,000 from my $20,000 investment.
Okay.
At midnight on the 13th of November, I believe it was.
And you did this because of watching like what was happening and what you were thinking. I remember the same thing, is that it was like people were looking at that event, and it was supposed to be, like, as someone who wasn't there, this was supposed to be a $7 billion company that was going to have the software that changes the world. And then you're looking and thinking, oh, look at this. This seems a lot less than a $7 billion company. And so, yeah, I fully understand it. So, okay, so you got out. So what happened to that? Did you use that wisely, the what you were able to?
No.
You did what I did. Yeah, it's like
I didn't pull anything out into my bank account again. I didn't pull out my initial investment. I didn't even put it into USDC. I didn't do I held it in USDT at the time. Then I slowly followed scams and followed Saitama Inu. I lost 20 grand in that, like, right away. Then this other douchebag started another meme coin to where
Shinja
Believes went in. I think Believes went in $30,000. I went in $15,000 into a Phantom project. That was supposed to be an open source platform where you can talk and say whatever you want. And there's no what do you call it? Censorship on it.
Yeah.
And then within a week after doing that, Elon Musk announced that he was buying Twitter and he was going to turn that into an open source platform. And the dude that took all our money just took it and ran. Yeah. So I lost another 15 grand there. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember a lot of the things that friends of ours that we knew that had pulled out some from Saitama had this kind of free money, and they were buying other cryptos, and so many of these things were just plummeting. They were just scams. This was still, between November 13th and January. I mean, it was somewhere in between. It was a lot of that happening. So, all right. So, cool. So, what have you learned?
Well, I mean, part of that whole learning thing too is like the day of the Vegas event, a friend of mine, close friend of mine, might have been the day before, he called me and he says, "Hey, I really want Saitama, and I've got a wallet set up, and I really want it." And I was like, "No, you don't buy it right now. This is like the highest it's ever been. Don't buy now. Like, wait till after the Vegas event. Wait till things calm down. A lot of people are going to sell. This is going to be a bad time to buy." And he's like, "I don't care. Burn my money." So he came over with about $5 grand, handed it to me. I sent him $5,000 worth of Saitama into his wallet. He got it. He felt happy for about 4 hours, and realized that he just put a lighter on it and burnt it.
There was a friend of ours who I think he had put in like $2 grand, and it was 32,000, something like that. Yeah. And he even came over to my house because he was kind of like wanting to know, should I pull it out? I'm not going to say any names just for confidentiality, but just, should I pull it out? What should I do? And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to give financial advice. You remember, I always started every sentence with, I'm not giving financial advice, whatever, do whatever you want to do. And so I was like, I can help you to sell it if that's what you want to do, but it's your choice. I even sent him some gas money because he only had Saitama in his wallet. He didn't even have any Ethereum. Yep. And it was like, I can help you if you want, but it's your choice, because if it goes up tomorrow, I don't want you to be mad at me, and if it goes down, it's your choice. And he just walked away. No, I'll hold it. And that $32,000 is worth about maybe $200 today or less. Yep. And there's a lot of
I know somebody else for the $20,000 story. Same story.
Yeah,
he was up to $40,000, and he could have taken his initial 20 grand out. He didn't, and now
Yeah.
it's down to nothing. And now even being at nothing, it's not that he could sell it to get the $200 back because there's nobody buying it.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
kind of locked in.
Yeah.
Locked
And
in space.
I think a lot of the people that even had those original tokens don't even understand today, because what's been kind of evolved from it is it's on a different blockchain now.
Right.
So they would have to understand that if they look, it's a different token name and it's on the BNB network. So they would actually have to have a little BNB and understand that they would swap it on a different swap. It actually is only on Saita Pro. You have to have some BNB and you have to go on Saita Pro and be able to swap that remnants of the original tokens if you have them.
Right.
And there was 360,000 people who had the original token. So there's a lot of people that have that little bit in their wallet if they got their V2s. Remember, there was a lot of people that never got the V2s of the original Saitama for whatever reason. So
Thanks, Russ.
so what is the what lessons have you learned? Do you feel like, now let me ask you this, are you still intending on, we're coming into another bull run, are you still intending on doing some stuff in this world, or are you done with crypto, or what is your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm still in crypto. I'm heavy into utility coins like Quant, XDC, XRP is my biggest holding.
Yep.
I've got some Algorand, I got some Solana, got some of the more solid, maybe lesser pumps,
Yeah.
but also lesser dumps.
Right.
So
Yeah, less risk and maybe less reward as opposed to high risk, high reward. Yeah.
right.
I get it.
Yeah.
it. So no more meme tokens for you? Are you
I'll play around with them once in a while, but I'm a terrible trader. I usually buy high, sell low.
yeah.
So I tried timing the market, and I successfully made it from about $180,000 down to probably $25,000
Yeah.
if I took everything and piled it together.
Yeah. So if you could do anything differently, if you could go back 3 years and do anything differently, what would you do differently?
I'd have gone heavier into Saitama
Early
instead
on.
of Shiba Inu,
Yeah.
and still pulled 100% out November 13th and never looked back.
I think that you're probably not the only one that,
Yeah.
that if they had a time machine would do exactly that. That's funny. So
I feel like, I don't know if it was like I was watching the right people and they were giving me the right vibes on this isn't going to work out good at that Vegas event. And
Yeah.
I had that gut feeling. I mean, I don't listen to the radio in my car. I listen to YouTube streaming
yeah.
from everybody, different aspects and things. And I definitely feel like I was fortunate to be able to pull it out at that night, at that event. But I definitely learned a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I had, similar thoughts on that day. It was I had a strong feeling. I hadn't heard anyone explicitly say that the app wasn't ready. I just sensed that the app's not going to be ready because software is never ready.
Right.
And just what I was kind of hearing about, that I think this is going to be kind of a dry event. Like they're not actually going to deliver this thing. But so I sensed that as well.
Well,
but
it wasn't dry for Jake Gagan.
Yeah. So at the, and then actually seeing the event itself was surprising to see. Like there was a lot of things that was just kind of thrown together from a presentation standpoint. So it didn't seem like a $1 billion company. It didn't even seem like $1 million company,
Right.
Even though
Right.
there were some seriously wealthy people in the room, investors and everything. But yeah.
Oh, plus then, so after the November event, I forget the doctor's name, but then he started, he followed Terrarium.
Terrarium,
They created Terrarium. So I went in pretty heavy into Terrarium from a lot of the winnings from Saitama. And I did real good because I was in it from the beginning. I watched them build the building. So they say, I watched them remodel this building. They bought a building. It was the headquarters. In India, they seemed like they really had things together. They were doing good. I even put more money into it. I talked to another friend of mine, like, hey, I think this is a solid company. And no, the rug got pulled on that one too.
Yeah.
I closed my eyes and it ended. Yeah.
It's painful. It's painful. Actually,
Yeah.
I think at one point you knew my wallet address and you could see all the different tokens that I had and sent me a screenshot, and I kind of cringed because I don't even want to see, I don't want to see the billions and trillions and quadrillions in some cases of
Yeah.
these tokens, because it was like, well, if that only takes off, it will be so many millions of dollars.
Yep.
But in the end, there was no liquidity, and I didn't understand how truly to the dust a project could go, and
Right.
it was like, some of these projects went just completely to nothing.
Yep.
And it wasn't until a long time later I ended up where I held my tokens, the vast majority, as Saitama right up until they released Saita Realty. And then I got this bright idea that I'm going to swap on Saitamask
Yep. That
for
was
Saita
barely,
Realty.
that was
And it
barely
was
working.
it crashed
Yeah.
like probably a good percentage of the time it crashed. I probably spent $10,000 on gas. I am not exaggerating. I
Yep.
spent $10,000 on gas and hundreds of transactions, and I swapped trillions of Saitama tokens for Saita Realty.
I think it took you an entire day.
I'm sitting there doing these
Yep.
transactions, buying the Saita Realty, simply because I thought, well, it's new, and it was only available on Saita Pro.
Right.
So that was something I'm thinking or on Saitamask. And it's like, okay, so because of the fact that it's only available, as it becomes more adoption, even if it doubles, I'm going to be able to sell that and buy back into Saitama. That
Right.
was my thinking
Right.
of it.
Right.
And in hindsight, I don't know I think in hindsight, if I had just never touched Saita Realty, it would have had, the tokens and the value would have been significantly higher today. But the whole chain of events, in looking back, was very interesting, very educational. Unfortunate from a financial perspective, but very educational.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
all right. Well, I appreciate you coming and being
Yeah, no
interviewed,
problem.
Chad. And if you come up with more tidbits, I'm happy to be. You're going to be able to see others. Most of them are not going to be able to be sitting next to me. They'll be on a Zoom, but I'm going to be interviewing dozens, if not hundreds, of people with the same question. So those of you watching, if you do want to be interviewed and want to answer, you just share some of your stories about what happened, what you learned. It doesn't matter if you were the one that bought high and never made a penny, and you just want to share some pieces of your story, or if you made a bunch of money and want to tell us about it. Whatever you want to share, we'd love to hear it. So again, this is my Saitama Journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.